Hello, welcome back to Her Expat Life, the YouTube channel that is dedicated to bringing female expats, entrepreneurs, digital nomads, and women who just want to lead global lifestyles all the information that they need to advance their lifestyles and also inspirational stories. Make sure to visit herexpatlife.com to see a comprehensive list of all of our offerings. And today we are going to speak to a person who is not only an inspirational entrepreneur herself, but is developing a product and products and is revolutionizing the healthcare industry for females. So I'm very, very excited to speak to our speaker today. We actually saw Valentina at the Web Summit last year. My colleague and I, we were privileged enough to see her speak, and we both looked at each other and our jaws dropped with Valentina's presentation. And we knew that we had to have her on the podcast today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Valentina Milanova, the founder of Daye. And Daye is a company that is trying to revolutionize the healthcare system and healthcare offering. They are raising the standard in gynecological health by creating innovative products and services that fit conveniently into women's lives. And we'll deep dive a little bit more in a moment. So, Valentina, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to speak with you.
We're very excited to have you. So, my very first question to you is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how you ended up in the healthcare industry and starting your company?
So I started Daye 7 years ago in 2017, and I was really inspired by my personal struggles in gynecological health, which started at the age of 9. That's when I had my first painful period. Shortly after, I was placed on hormonal contraception, which is still the main way in which we treat period pain, even though it wasn't designed for period pain. And initially, I thought that my unusual experiences in gynecological health, my painful experiences were just bad luck or uniquely unfortunate. But then through conversations with my friends and my peers, I realized that they are, in fact, the norm. And the majority of women and AFAB individuals today just do not get the level of care and the quality of care that we need in order to live our lives adequately in the space of gynecological health, because I think that it's one of the most important things that you can do within the lifetime that we're born into. I think one of the most important things that we have to solve for is equality, gender equality in the delivery of healthcare.
Absolutely. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly your company does and what is the main objective and mission of Daye?
Yeah, so Daye is a gynecological health platform, and we manufacture medical and diagnostic devices. Our central premise is that the menstrual tampon can do a lot more than just soak up menstrual fluid. So we started with the invention of the world's first pain-relieving tampon, which has now supported over 100,000 patients in the United Kingdom. And later we introduced the second generation diagnostic tampon, which enables patients to collect a sample for STI, HPV, and vaginal microbiome screening, all from the comfort of their home without needing to go to a clinic or face a speculum and stirrups, which many patients find unpleasant and uncomfortable. Alongside these two physical products, we've also created the comprehensive telemedical gynecological health layer, which enables our patients to connect with nurses, fertility specialists, sexual health specialists, OBGYNs, to obtain prescription treatments, video consultations, in-person consultations. And the aim of this telemedical system alongside our physical products is to raise the quality of care in gynecological health and to also bridge the gender gap in medical innovation. So our mission at Daye is to deliver better quality products and services for gynecological health, but to also continuously invest in research and development so we can bridge the gender data gap and the gender research gap and create the products that are currently lacking in order to serve real gynecological health pain points.
It's incredible work that you're doing. It's phenomenal that we have this kind of technology available. At the Web Summit, you were basically sharing some very sad and shocking statistics regarding gender bias in the healthcare industry. Please, can you give us a deeper insight into these stats and biases and what females should know about the current situation?
Yeah, so two of the main examples of the gender healthcare gap are the gender paying gap and the gender diagnosis gap. In the gender diagnosis gap, so women are diagnosed later than men in over 700 diseases, and on average, we're diagnosed 4 years later than men. So this is the case for cancer, for asthma, for diabetes, for a number of significant health conditions. The delay in diagnosis means that we are not able to obtain the treatments that we need and not able to manage our symptoms in order to increase our quality of life. Now, for female-specific conditions, so for the ones that do not affect men, the gap in diagnosis is even longer. So for endometriosis, for example, for PCOS, the gap between finding that you have symptoms and obtaining a diagnosis can be between 8 and 12 years. During this time, it's estimated that endometriosis patients, for example, can forego as much as £40,000 in earned income and spend over £800 on different physician appointments so that they can obtain a diagnosis. There's a real social and economic cost to the gender diagnosis gap, just as there is a real social and economic cost to the gender pain gap. So the gender pain gap is centered around the premise that women somehow have a higher threshold for pain tolerance, and therefore we are offered painkillers less frequently. The painkillers that are designed and on the market were not tested on the female physiology because women were only allowed to participate in clinical trials in 1993. So the majority of medications for pain that we have today were never designed for nor tested on the female physiology. As a result, they work less well in women compared to male patients. So we don't have adequate treatments for female pain, and we don't recognize female pain. So female pain is frequently dismissed as psychosymptomatic. Patients, instead of being offered painkillers, are offered anti-hysteria medications or anti-anxiety medications. In addition, if you look at the outcomes within emergency rooms, women have to wait over 20 minutes longer on average before they're offered pain relief compared to male patients. So those are two of the biggest examples of the gender gap in the delivery of healthcare, the gender gap in diagnostics and the gender pain gap.
It's absolutely shocking. I think we're aware of the problem, but I don't think we fully understand the magnitude and the seriousness of it from all aspects, from just a female experience, from the economic implications of it. And yeah, I'm really happy that there are organizations and companies such as yours that are bringing this to the forefront. It's really, really important. One of the products that you briefly mentioned, very, very very interesting product and very revolutionary are the tampons that can help with period pain and specifically can detect the STIs and HPV. Can you tell us a bit more about how these products actually work?
So it's the same underlying base tampon. The pain relieving one has a active formulation which gets absorbed by the vaginal mucosa. The diagnostic tampon doesn't have a pain relieving formulation, but it enables you to reach your cervix by yourself reliably to obtain a sample from the comfort of your home. So starting with the pain relieving tampon, it works on the premise that the vagina is the safest and most effective way to deliver medications in women. So if we take the abortion pill, for example, if you take it vaginally rather than orally, it works in 8 hours rather than 37 hours, and it has higher efficacy. This can be applied to all sorts of medications that can be administered vaginally for a safer and more effective delivery mechanism. The diagnostic tampon works, so we have an applicator that enables you to position your tampon up to your cervix and to obtain a really detailed and comprehensive sample from the entirety of your vaginal canal and your cervix. So one of the things that we use in healthcare for women today that were not designed for the female physiology is the swab. The swab was designed for your nasal cavity, for your, for oral examinations, but the vagina is much bigger. It requires a more comprehensive sampling mechanism. So the tampon offers just that. It presses against your vaginal walls and it collects a more comprehensive sample, which means that you can obtain a more accurate screening results because you've picked up on all of the pathogens that are present in the vaginal canal rather than just the ones that are at the.
Okay, so my next question is about the use of CBD oil in some of your products. Yeah, so your products make use of CBD oil, which unfortunately still has somewhat of a negative association in some circles due to some people's perceptions of the actual marijuana plant. So please, can you just help us demystify this a little bit and explain the medicinal properties of the substance and how people can maybe open up their minds a little bit more?
So I'll start by saying that we use cannabidiol extract rather than cannabidiol oil, which is derived from the flower of the industrial hemp plant, which is a sister plant to the traditional cannabis that we are all familiar with that contains high levels of THC. The main difference between industrial hemp and traditional cannabis is that industrial hemp contains very low levels of THC or no levels of THC whatsoever. However, it does contain other cannabinoids, some of which have therapeutic potential. The cannabinoids that we use are always derived from industrial hemp. They don't contain any THC, and they have been lab tested to ensure that they are clean from any contaminants, that they have the same dose of cannabinoids per every tampon, so that we can guarantee what ends up in your body. And the way that the pain relieving tampon with CBD or cannabidiol works is through the endocannabinoid system. So just as we have, a nervous system and a number of other systems in our bodies, we also have an endocannabinoid system with endocannabinoid receptors. The endocannabinoid system is responsible for modulating pain, sleep, and our response to external stressors, which is why some people find they get more sleepy or they get less anxious when they consume THC, which is one of the cannabinoids that can be picked up by the cannabinoid system. Another cannabinoid is cannabidiol, which is the one that we use in our tampons, which actually has a really long history of supporting female pain, dating back to the times of Queen Victoria. In the journals of her physician, we can see that he administered the hemp tincture to her during her painful periods. She, as a side note, she most probably had endometriosis. If you look at the symptoms that she was reporting.
Wow, that's fascinating. I want to talk a little bit about your experience as a female entrepreneur and specifically as a young female entrepreneur. So, you're a female entrepreneur in a competitive space of startups, right? What has your journey been like and how have you personally grown through the experience?
So entrepreneurship, I would say, is one of the hardest career paths that you can choose. And I don't think it should be glamorized or positioned as, a cool job. It's a very challenging road in life to choose. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone from becoming an entrepreneur, but I do think we need to be a bit more honest about the realities of what it's like to build a company from scratch. So my journey has been incredibly challenging when it comes to fundraising, team building, overcoming regulatory hurdles, setting up manufacturing, but it has also been immensely rewarding. I don't think I could have learned as much as I have if I hadn't started a business, especially a business in the space of medical devices and manufacturing. But I feel really strongly about, being an honest representative of what it's like to be an entrepreneur. One of the things that I have struggled with myself when connecting with other entrepreneurs is that there's a temptation to say, oh, everything's perfect, my company is amazing, figured it all out on the first try. My experience of entrepreneurship, it's really hard on your ego. It's, physically really draining. You have to prepare to, embarrass yourself multiple times, make a fool out of yourself, take risks, take chances. So it's a challenging but very rewarding experience.
Thank you for your honesty and for being so vulnerable. I think it is very important to have these kinds of conversations because you're right. I think it's easy for us to glamorize it. And from the outside looking in, it's like, wow, to be your own boss and to have all of this opportunity to control the direction of your life, which is great. But the reality is, it is really difficult, especially in the field, I think, that you're in particular. Um, so, on that note, what would be your advice for females who are in entrepreneurship?
Just don't give up, be persistent, keep knocking on doors, keep trying different solutions. If you have deep conviction that your product or your service needs to exist into the world, you will at some point figure out a way to make it. If investors are saying no, just keep pitching. If grant funders are saying no, keep applying for grants. If you're struggling to obtain a regulatory approval, keep trying. I think if you're certain that you want to be an entrepreneur and if you're certain that your solution does add value, just don't give up.
Okay, and back to your company, Daye. So, what is your vision for Daye and the healthcare industry in general? Where do you see yourself in the future?
Well, I hope that they will have played a meaningful role in bridging the gender gap in the delivery of healthcare and the gender research gap. And I hope that we create a world where the fact that you're born in, a female body, and that your physiology is female doesn't mean that you can't participate in life and enjoy life at the same extent as someone that was born in a male body. I would love for us to have created the products and services that are necessary for everyone to conveniently and affordably manage their vaginal, menstrual, and hormonal health.
Okay, and before we wrap up this conversation, how can people stay up to date with the research that Daye does? How can people keep up with the way you are revolutionizing the industry?
So we are on yourday.com, so that's YOURDAYE. And you can also follow us on social media. We are on YOURDAYE, your day. And on our website, on our social media presence, we're delivering on our mission to help provide better education and better awareness about the issues in gynecological health today.
Valentina, thank you so much. I could speak to you the whole day about this topic, but I think it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And once again, I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing. As a woman, it's really amazing to see young females in this space giving a voice in the healthcare industry to how we are being underrepresented, and phenomenal, inspiring work that you're doing. So I can imagine your journey's been difficult, but it's essential what you're doing for the female community. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it, and I think many women out there do too.
Thank you for your very kind words.
And with that, we will wrap up today's episode. If you have any follow up questions that you'd like us to ask Valentina, if there's anything that you'd like us to cover on our channel, if there's anybody inspiring you'd like us to speak to, please drop us a message in the comments section. We always love your feedback. Make sure to click subscribe, follow us on our social media platforms, and visit herexpatlife.com to see our full offering of services. And we look forward to having more interesting and inspiring conversations here on our platform. Thank you, Valentina.
Thank you so much.